Hello and welcome to Adda with Kalyan. Today we are going to talk about YouTube, which has really revolutionized the way food has been taught all over the world. So you've got home chefs who are showing their recipes across the world. You've got chefs showing their recipes, and it's really been a wonderful ride. So you could have a homesick Marathi boy from Mumbai sitting in Caltech in California and learning how to make kothambir vadi, or you could have a housewife in Jaipur seeing his home chef from Italia learning how to make a saffron risotto. So today I've got with me some very exciting chefs in India, home chefs, some professional chefs who have been doing work on YouTube or who are starting their channels. I've got Ananya with me, who does Bengali food and often in Bengali on YouTube in Ananya Rannaghar. We've got Harsh, who's just started a very exciting channel on modern vegetarian food, and that's really interesting. And then we've got Anjali Pathak with me, who's done recipes and YouTube work in the UK, and now she's moved into India and she's starting a channel of hers own, and all of them do channels with Ping Network on India Food Network. So it's going to be great talking to them. So I'm going to start with you, Ananya. You've been doing videos for a while, and you're doing videos in Bangla. And how does it work, because YouTube is often a global audience?
Yes, but I was told by the channel there isn't a Bengali chef, so I rather do the videos in Bangla. But often what happens is I get comments from people. They ask, are you going to do this in English ever? Can you please do this in English? Or so it keeps me thinking whether it's the right thing or not. But it's very popular, that much I can say.
Yeah, and it probably sort of allows you to sort of talk about the recipes and stuff in a more authentic way and connect with it. But yes, I think a global audience connects sometimes.
Yes, I think somebody, as I was told, there are many audiences who watches from Siberia. I don't know. They watch Bengali food, and me wearing a Bengali sari, speaking in Bengali, I think it's the whole experience that counts.
So maybe now they're making Shorshe in Siberia.
Yeah, might be.
So Anjali, you had a channel of yours in the UK, and you had some of the Pathak recipes over there and some of your own work. And now you're coming to India and you're setting up a new channel with Ping Network and India Food Network. So why a new channel? Like, what are the plans for that?
So what I've done on my own YouTube channel is very much Indian-based recipes, a lot of modern Indian, very much spice cooking, and what I want to do here in India is more of the international recipes that I'm very familiar with, that I grew up learning, and also what I learned at chef school. So it's more international, as well as a little bit of baking, because I love to bake. So I'd love to share those recipes with people, and I know that here in India, especially the people who will consume that content here in India, they tend to enjoy baking and they love to get involved with baking. So,
and especially if you show it now in an Indian context versus with British ingredients, ingredients you get here, I think
absolutely, because everything works differently here as I'm learning, as I'm going, especially with baking.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a learning curve for me, and I think that's how people must be facing, you know, their baking queries at the moment, is what to use, how to use it, and what to do if you run out of a certain ingredient. And if you're accessing content from abroad,
absolutely,
you don't tend to have a lot of the same ingredients.
Yeah, that becomes a big problem, whether it's blogs or channels.
Yeah, absolutely.
But talking of modern cooking and international cooking, Harsh, in the channel which you've opened with us, you're doing modern vegetarian cooking, and often a lot of associations with vegetarian food is that it's difficult to make that interesting, exciting, modern.
Absolutely. It's
a traditional, it's a boring.
Correct.
So what's the edge that you're bringing in?
Well, I'm trying to bring in global cuisines more vegetarian, because people are traveling all over the world. YouTube has opened up frontiers for everyone to see what's happening, what people are eating all across the world, and they want the same thing in a vegetarian version, right? So we're trying to do that, getting them to try vegetarian food globally.
So it's going to have international dishes in that?
International dishes, Indian dishes done globally, ingredients that you don't get to see in Indian cuisines used in Indian food. So a fusion where you are mixing Indian cuisines with global ingredients and global cuisines with Indian ingredients. So a bit of both.
So that's going to be really interesting.
Yes.
And Ananya, you do a lot of your shooting and production out of your own kitchen at home, right?
Yes.
So what are the sort of, and a lot of home chefs who do YouTube videos sort of work out of their own kitchens. So any tips for people like that? What works? how to get a good video out when you're working out of home?
Yeah, it's your comfort zone you're working from. I think that on the first hand it helps. You know where stuff is, and it's easily to take out stuff. So that way it helps. Yeah, of course, tips, the place needs to be tidy and clean. Every time I have a shoot, I remove a lot of stuff so that the place looks a bit uncluttered.
Yeah.
So these are the few basic things. Otherwise, you're at your home, so it's comfortable.
You know, one of the things which I used to face when I used to do cooking videos is that you're cooking at a certain pace, but the production is not always happening on that pace. And since most of us are like not TV chefs or home chefs, where when you're doing things on television, there's like a dummy product kept ready and stuff like that, and there's stuff. So how do you deal with that, Anjali?
I tend to just pick recipes that I know if I have to leave it, or if I have to stop the middle of cooking to do a reshoot, then at least I know everything will stay looking the same, so the colour won't change. Or just make sure you have double of everything should you have to remake it quickly in between takes. And that's just the way television works in general. I've done a lot of television work, so that's just the way we do it, usually by double or triple. Always have one fully cooked, ready, perfect presentation dish for right at the end should you need it. But obviously for the home cooking,
that becomes a bit tough, right?
Yeah, and for home cooking, and you want people to feel they can recreate what you're showing them on YouTube. So it doesn't always work like that, but if you know that something has to sit around for half an hour, 1 hour, for whatever reason, then if you have time, then try and have something ready.
I remember that the first recipe which I had shot was kosha mangsho, which is a slow cooked Bengali mutton, and which in the pressure cooker takes 40 minutes. So the shoot was some 4 hours or 3 hours. And Harsh, you do a lot of your shooting in a professional kitchen now.
Yes, I have a professional cooking studio at my end. So I'm blessed to have that, and makes things much easier. There's staff, there is equipment, so everything comes to me pre-prepared. So I'm quite safe that way. I'm lucky, yeah.
Any sense, any feel that you have in terms of whether a YouTube audience relates more to someone cooking out of a home kitchen like Ananya does, or like a professional studio? Because
I think it's all about speaking their language. What are you talking to them? How are you talking to them? What are you showing? The more complicated, the more complex, the more difficult the ingredients there are, you've lost them. I'm talking about the general public, not the very, very developed palates. So if you talk to them at their level, then you've got your audience ready.
So keep it simple and uncomplicated.
Keep it simple, keep it uncomplicated.
Is a tip which you have.
Absolutely.
And Anjali, you were also saying that keep, if possible, like a finished product ready, because that.
If you want to have a really lovely presentation dish, but if you think your dish is going to turn out because you picked a good enough recipe, which you should have in the first place, then it should be fine. But I think when it comes to things like maybe baking a cake, where you need to let it cool before you ice it, then have a ready sponge already
because
done.
it takes time.
Then it takes too long, I think. Then the shoot day, takes a really long time to do, and that's not always feasible.
Some of them have more views, some of them have less views when you compare them.
Yes.
What is your sense on what works better?
I've noticed something like more traditional recipe like a kosha mangsho or a chicken rizala has done much better.
So a more famous name, if the recipe is more famous. Okay.
So people can relate to that, and they are always searching for these. So it's a good idea to follow trends, the words or the search in the words which are trending at the present moment, and go for that.
Anything else? Any idea on what sort of length works better? Like, is it like should be 5 minutes, longer 5 minutes? Any sense with you guys?
It's easier to shoot the recipes which doesn't take much time, but as you said, like if you have to put something in a pressure cooker.
No, I'm talking of the length of the final video.
Oh, okay.
So what works better there? Is it a shorter video?
So shorter videos, I think it's more views. People are not impatient. Sometimes although they start seeing something and then they just move, patience is lost. So one has to keep that in mind. So
Harsh, how do you figure out like what sort of recipes to showcase?
I think things which are quick. That's what people want. What can they prepare in 5 minutes? What can they prepare in 10 minutes? How do I replace something which I have to create from scratch versus something that I can do store-bought? Like doing a verine, a dessert, layered dessert. I can do a sponge from a store-bought sponge and quickly make a beautiful looking dessert in 5 minutes. So I guess that's what people want, something quick, something fast, something easy, you know, not very complicated.
And easy to, so basically easy to replicate.
Easy to replicate, easy to serve, easy to eat, you know, not too much of preparation, not too many processes. That's what they're looking for.
So where do you guys get your inspirations for? Like, do you look at YouTube channels across any of you, any which looks interesting? Yeah,
I do watch YouTube channels just to make sure that whether that video exists, how many of them really have done on the same lines. So that helps. Then you can do something different and not be the same repetition again. You know.
Well, there is always, you draw inspiration from somebody who's doing it already. It's always inspiring. How are they presenting themselves? How are they making their shows more livelier? How are they interacting with audiences? That's how you learn from, and you know, not make the same mistakes probably somebody else has already made. So I guess, yes, you keep watching and learning and moving ahead.
And I tend to get a lot of my inspiration from cookbooks. I love flicking through cookbooks and just dreaming of food I want to eat and what I want to cook, and I think if I'm dreaming of it, surely other people are dreaming of it at the same time. So I just get it from books, magazines, television, cook shows, anything that's got food in it usually just starts sparking some ideas, and then I get thinking.
Any tips on how to get audience engagement going, like how to get people to sort of react to you? I
think one thing is local language. If you can master local language, your net broadens very, very widely. You are suddenly bringing in a lot of non-English speaking audience as well.
So you are Gujarati, Harsh.
Yes,
so any plans of like doing videos in Gujarati?
I'll have to. Yes, I am very comfortable speaking in Gujarati. Maybe not for the full length of the video, because there are certain ingredients, certain stuff, certain processes which I wouldn't want, and people don't want to know that detailed Gujarati. But yes, I would want to go that way as well, because I'm broadening my net.
Any plans which any of you have to go outside of the studio or the kitchen, like for example market visits or to restaurants, or like to show the world around the recipe as well?
So we've been talking with the channel, and I'm dying to get out and go into street food.
That'll be a very good idea, I think.
I think people will find that really interesting.
Because I was seeing some of your updates also, Anjali, on the markets and Pali markets. I think some of that would be
the stuff that I love to.
Very interesting.
Something I'm discovering. You know, I'm quite new to India. Of course, I'm Indian heritage. I've been to India many, many times, but this is the first time I've actually lived here and spent real time here, and I'm discovering all sorts of new ingredients that I've never seen in England before. I've never cooked with, my parents never cooked with them, and they're everywhere in the markets here. So, you know, I'm asking the market owners, what is this? How do I use it? How long can I store it? What's the best way to use it? So I'm learning.
So a lot of handy tips. So there you've got some great ideas on what to do on YouTube. Keep a second product ready, which you can do if it's something which takes long, or do quick recipes, or talk in the local language. Try to engage with your users. Look at inspiration for around you. So I think with these tips, you should be ready and raring to go and start your own YouTube channel, and we'd be looking forward to that. If you do share it with us on India Food Network, and we'd love to share it ourselves. So keep watching. Let us know on Kalyan@pingnetwork.in what you'd like to see on Adda with Kalyan, and catch you soon on the next episode.